Have you ever had a choke collar?
Yeah.
Those are funny.
What makes them funny?
Because when you strangle someone, their eyes bug out of their head. Auga! That makes it funny. Auga!
Hello! Welcome back to
What's Safeword?
I'm Am.
I'm Mr. Christopher.
And today...
We're collared.
But Daddy, first I would love to know, what is a collar?
A collar is something that's worn around the neck that usually symbolizes something. So either a relationship dynamic, a status, it can even flag what you're into. Maybe you're just a sub and you want to go out and have people know that. But usually it has a very personal meaning to whoever's wearing it.
Essentially a commitment of some kind. Maybe you're dating, maybe you're playing, maybe it's just for the week or weekend. But it is something that means something to you, that holds importance in a kink dynamic of some sort, whether it's DS or just a general kinkster with some sort of fashion going on.
It's fashion?
And so today we're gonna break down what collars mean, the history and importance, kind of the fashion and accessory statements, as well as the safety, formatted through your questions that you asked us on social media. Today we asked you guys for your questions all about collars. So the first question today from Wolfie asked, what does the collar represent to you personally? And I think that's a really interesting place to start.
So for me personally, it expresses a dynamic between me and someone I'm playing with. So if I have someone collared, it usually means I'm really into that person. And I want to train them and I want to be closer to them.
For me, it's kind of like a wedding ring. And a lot of people express that symbolism, though I was doing some research and reading into old booklets, Leatherman handbooks and guides, and their take is very interesting on collars because they say it's not like a wedding ring because that's a straight person's thing. And people can touch wedding rings, but you're not supposed to ever touch a collar, at least not without permission.
But that just goes to show you how collars have changed over time.
Oh, absolutely. Because those very same old guardy books were like, and the collar does not belong to the submissive at all. It is always the dominance. The submissive is just on loan with the collar, or is upkeeping and keeping the collar safe, which is such an interesting thing to even...
I still play that way. I'm wearing a collar now. That is given to me by my dom. They hold the key to it and they unlock it if they no longer wanted to be with me.
So where's the key to my collar that you technically own?
I trust you so much that I allow you, for safety reasons, to hold on to your own key.
There are two
because,
keys.
like you said, your collar is more of a wedding ring, and it shows a commitment between the two of us.
There are two keys though, right?
Absolutely.
And mine, I know, was on my key ring that I just showed you.
Next question.
Oh, convenient.
Sure, Jan.
The next question from Shauna asks, what's the proper etiquette when I see a person with a collar in a play space? So let's role play. I walk into a sex party and we don't know each other. Here's me.
I usually point at it and say, who owns the key?
Who owns that?
I'm not that aggressive. I'm friendly, smile. Hi, who owns the key to that?
Hi, welcome to Chili's.
And usually I'll say, oh, my partner, you know, I'm in a BDSM dynamic. My daddy has the key. Having a conversation about it is the best place to start. And if you're not able to have a proper conversation about what someone's wearing, you are not ready to engage with that person.
And by asking the meaning of it or who holds the key, you're showing respect, that you realize that that means something to them and you're allowing them to tell you instead of just assuming something.
That said, there are different kinds of collars within the BDSM community, and it usually falls into 6 different types. And we're gonna talk about different kinds of collars as well today as we go through, because I've got every single collar I have ever owned.
Opulence.
That I keep very safely with me.
My God, how many doms have you had?
Well, about 3 in my life. Actually, this little leather thong is the very first collar that we're gonna talk about, which is a consideration collar. Now, this little leather piece that I've put on my IML medallion since then was given to me by you when we first started dating. And consideration collars are kind of like a, hey, I would like to try this out. I'm kind of, you know, you're interning as a sub here for me. I would like to see how this goes. It could be something very light, it could be something very subtle. It's usually something discreet, but it's not something that's super spendy or really, really important yet.
Yes, so the dom I'm currently with, he gave me one of these with a tag that said bosses. So I wore it like a necklace, but to me it was a collar.
And then you and I eventually moved to a training collar, which is kind of like the next step. Like you are fully integrated, you have some sort of dynamic and you're still testing it out, but it's a little bit more serious. And I have had 2 different kinds of training collars. One with an old daddy who No, he was
Old daddy?
Well, he was the grumpiest daddy.
Oh,
Yeah.
grumpier than me?
Yeah, so
How's
you
that
know,
possible?
he's no longer no.
Wow.
You in danger, girl.
But you and I had this collar with one of my very first locks as well, and it's very heavy, but it was very much for training. Do you have any first-time collars over there?
I like a chunky collar. For big necks. So that was one of my first collars when I was collared.
The next category most people fall into is a day collar, which is something a little bit more subtle, discreet, that can be like tucked in. So I have my first cable collar, which was the first collar you bought me. And then eventually we moved to a day collar that was a bit more of a woven leather band.
So it kind of gives the illusion of fashion.
What is it, fashion?
So that you don't have to explain to mom and dad that I'm a sub in service to a dom. You can just say, it's a gay thing.
The next category of collars is usually like a play collar. And play collars are like the thing that you play with. It could be a little more heavy duty, a little more serious, but it might not be something you wear all the time. Do you have some play collars you want to show
I
off?
love play
Yeah,
collars.
me too.
So if I have a new boy or sub, I like to put a thick leather collar around their neck, and it just kind of puts them in place and lets them know that they're a sub and that I'm in control.
I have some play collars in the form of like actual like dog collars that I've gotten that are nice and safe for humans. Not all collars are human grade. But I also have like a thicker padded leather dog collar with a little pulley right there.
Because you're a puppy, so you
Yeah.
like dog collars. Some of the play collars I like are really good for BDSM, like this one, which is a posture collar. So once on, Amp can't look down. He can't look side to side. He can't look at any other daddy other than me. But it would also...
I'm getting sniffies up.
No, it can't look at its phone either.
Hey. From there, you have sometimes what people will call a protection collar.
What's a protection collar?
It could be a form of a consideration collar, but more so to just be like, hey, I'm mentoring this sub, or hey, don't play with this sub without like talking to them and like getting, they're under someone's protection. They're under someone's wing.
So it's not a collar you put on so someone flogging you won't hit your neck.
No, it's not like a
it
cone of
saves
shame.
you. It's like protection.
No. And last but not least is permanent or formal collars, something that might be a little bit more 24/7, that could be day or play, or just kind of fall under any category. And that's what I have here, which is kind of the natural progression of all the collars that we've had throughout our dynamic and relationship. It's thick, it's woven, but I wear it all times, and when I'm not around the kinksters, when I'm around the muggles, I tuck it in because it's very subtle in that way.
And everyone just thinks it's a necklace.
Yeah. But actually, my first consideration collar, formal collar with you, I actually have in this little box here.
That's sweet.
I know, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's just one of the, it's literally like baby version of this. This next question is where we get into the heated debates of collars and old guard and new
goody.
guard and ooh. And it comes from Malicious, who says, self-collaring is a big thing recently for many reasons, but one is being used as a form of protection against unwanted advances when at events and public outings. What are our thoughts on self-collaring?
I'm all for it. If I asked you who holds the key, a lot of times I'll get the answer, me. And a lot of times people do that because they are out having a date with themselves, so to speak. And a lot of times they have it matching whatever outfit they're in. It's kind of an accessory to their evening out.
And so many people had this self-collaring question. I mean, literally so many people. In old guard books, people say that self-collaring is not a thing. You shouldn't do it. It chases away the real doms. And I'm of the mindset that we should probably move past the archaic roles of a collar only being the one thing that only the master owns and subs can't choose or have any dynamic or any say in it. It should be more dynamic than that.
Think of it as chastity. You know, a lot of chastity play is with a dom and a sub, and the dom holds the key. But there are lots of subs that lock themselves up. And sometimes not even subs. My dom locks himself up as well because he likes the feel of it.
Some people thought it might be cringe to self-collar. It wasn't demure, it wasn't mindful.
Very demure, very
I think that it's a good way to protect yourself in a dynamic you might not be comfortable with, or in a bar maybe you're new with, but it also should start a conversation for people. I don't see anything wrong with self-collaring yourself with like a little chainmail collar, but no lock. You can put like a little D-ring through that or a little clip. I see puppies do that all the time.
And if you are out for the night and not looking to hook up with anyone, it's a great way to head off unwanted advances.
And to that, I've also seen subs that will wear like a heavy-duty kind of play collar with the lock and key still in it, almost a signal that they're looking for a dom, or maybe they would like to play with someone for a weekend. And I'm okay with that, as long as you're able to explain what the collar means to you and it has significance in some way. totally fine by me.
And I think self-coloring shows a lot of self-love, because if you can't color yourself, how the hell are you going to color anyone else?
Can I get an amen?
To use the marriage metaphor, which a lot of people use with collars, I went to Catholic school where a lot of people wore purity rings before they got married. I kind of see like collars almost like a purity ring in that way.
And actually, if you think about it, priests wear collars as their sign of commitment to God, which just proves that God is kinky.
Next question. The next one from Ryan says, can you buy yourself a collar, or is it supposed to be for sub/tops in a committed relationship to like figure it all out and come together?
We've kind of just covered that. I think it goes both ways. I think you can buy yourself a collar depending on how you're going to wear it, but a lot of times it is the dom who gives it to the sub.
Though in our dynamic, like I was always kind of the one that was like, I really like this. Can we look at this shop, or can we find a custom piece from this person?
Sure, and we've all heard about controlling bottoms who really want a specific thing or look. Not you, dear.
No, not me at all. I mean, how many collars do you have back here? There's quite a lot.
No, but
For this question, I always remind myself and others to do a mic check.
mic check.
Testing.
Testing, one, two,
One,
three.
two, three.
Testing, 1, 2, 3. Is this thing on?
And mic stands for being mindful, being intentional, but also having context.
Context.
Depending on what kind of party is gonna change what kind of collar. Depending on how you wear it or where you wear it, you're being mindful. And also depending on the intent of the collar, whether it's to hold other doms off or show a commitment or just to be fashiony, it's all fine and good so long as you know what that collar means and you can explain it.
Because people will ask.
And also you don't wanna be stuck in like a frilly pink collar that someone else chose that you are not interested in all, or that has the key and you can't take it off. Like, collars all mean something different.
What's wrong with pink colors?
I'm just saying it's not for me, and I think it looks really here. Let's just put a collar on top of a collar, and then your collar while you collar.
Double collared.
What does it mean?
Is this like double stuffed Oreos?
This does also bring up a really good question of like, what happens when someone passes on or the dynamic maybe splits up? Like, do you use an old collar? Do you keep that same collar? What's your opinion on that?
I think it's how the relationship ended and how you feel with that person.
Yeah.
Sometimes relationships end badly and sometimes they end well. So you keep a collar that we used at the beginning because it has sentimental reasons for you.
Yeah.
Others may not.
Fair. I mean, buying your own collar is totally fine as long as it matches your vibe and as long as you can explain that to a dom. It's almost like buying your own bed. From today's sponsor, Helix Sleep. Wants to remind you that finding a collar and finding a mattress are kind of similar experiences. Each one of them is going to fit you differently, going to help you sleep, maybe a little bit better or a little bit harder, because I like sleeping in that.
You get used to it, like anything. And thanks to my Helix mattress, it's ultra comfortable.
Because they have the Helix Sleep Quiz. It's a quiz you can take by yourself or with a partner to find a mattress that is perfect for you. You tell them your name, your age, your height and weight, as well as preferred sleeping position. I'm personally more of a back and side sleeper, and I like a medium to firm mattress. And maybe you were destroyed by COVID entirely and you just have aches and pains in the morning. You can even include that information. Based on my results, Helix matched not only myself, but also Daddy with the Dusk Luxe, which we've had for over 3 years now, and both of us independently have been sleeping like rocks. When I'm not sleeping in my bed, I do not sleep well. And when it comes to sex, Helix also does great there as well, because they're also getting awards for the best mattresses for sex. With a hybrid combination of foam and springs, you will sleep wonderfully. Unlike other brands, Helix mattresses do not contain fiberglass, which can be harmful to your health. And the Helix lineup offers 20 unique mattresses, including award-winning Luxe and Ultra Premium Elite collections, the Helix Plus, which is a mattress designed for big and tall sleepers, and even Helix Kid mattresses, which are designed for growing bodies and endorsed by sleep and medical experts. The best part though is Helix Sleep delivers directly to your door with free shipping in the US, and it comes rolled up in a lovely little box. And the vacuum-packed mattress that it comes with is probably my favorite part to open. And when you open it, you get the patented daddy sound. If you guys like me are very nervous to buy things online, you'll also be very happy to hear that Helix has a 100-night sleep trial. So you get more than 3 months to make sure you love it. Plus, Helix has a 10-year warranty on your mattress, and they even offer financing options and flexible payment plans. We love our Helix mattress and think you will too, so check them out at helixsleep.com/watt to get 20% off your own Helix mattress and some wonderful sleep on us. Thank you again, Helix Sleep.
Thank you, Helix.
The next question from Mr. B asks, with increased use and popularity of collars, has there been any pushback or feelings like not everyone has earned their collar? How do you earn a collar? Like, is that a thing that still happens?
It does in some dynamics. But again, it's the dynamic that dictates that, right? So a lot of people that are now into the fetish world aren't into necessarily BDSM dynamics that those old rules would apply.
For some, it's a fantasy to earn the collar for play, but for others, it's very much a rigorous process, consideration, and then a training collar, and then a beginner collar, and then a formal. And there is a nice, very beautiful process of doing that. Some people even do ceremonies.
It's like having an engagement ring and then going to the wedding ring. And also be mindful that you may be flippant about collars and give them out willy-nilly, but the person that you're giving it to may be more vested in that. So when your relationship ends, that may hit them hard.
Did you get the same collar for Willy and Nilly?
Both of them.
Yeah. Or how about this last one in the first chunk here of dynamics and collars, which says, is it okay for tops to wear collars too? I'm a top. No, not allowed. We're putting our foot down. That's breaking the rules of old guard. Technically.
It kind of is. However.
Literally, in one of the books I was reading, it's like, doms do not wear collars, and subs who have a collar cannot collar someone else.
And what do they say about verse?
They said switches are greedy.
Oh, well, that's true.
It was very toxic masculine, like old from the 70s, 80s, and even the 2010s, one of the books.
Yeah.
And I understand that there's a very clear history to the BDSM community, but it's moved, it's changed, it's dynamic, and I feel that when we get too rigid about some things, we lose some of the fun.
Yeah, and today's fetish world is all about mixing and matching, trying different roles, being sub, verse, dom.
If you want to really get subversive, isn't that really what kink is about? Is kind of breaking the rules in a fun, sexy way?
Yeah.
Put a dom in a collar and then have them boss you around while you boss them. Make it fun. Which brings us to the second part of today's video, which is fashion and function. When choosing a collar, it's very important that you get something that matches everything else, you know? You gotta make sure that it matches your vibe.
Is that why you have black?
Yeah, I love
It just
the color
goes with
black.
everything?
It does. It does.
This goes with my Santa outfit. This matches my jockstrap.
And it's lovely.
Thank
and
you.
Very bright.
Look at, metal. That goes with everything.
Well, not everything. It looks kind of old. It's a little...
This is very 80s.
I know, that's what I just said. Needs more cowbell.
Those are fun. Love those.
And the first fashion type question from Levi asks, what are the different types and materials that are generally used? What are the most unconventional or uncommon that you've seen? I'm curious, what are some of your favorite materials to get in a collar?
I'm preferable of a metal, like a chain or chain metal, or even big shackle metal, because you can shower with it very easily. It doesn't have to come off, and it's a long-term wear material.
I'm more partial to the leather woven bands, like the one that I have here as well. And actually, if you're going to do something that's a bit more of a material that, might be like skin or woven, I would weatherproof those. So I actually take my woven one off about 3 times a year, and I will set it out for an entire day, weatherproof it with this saddle weatherproofing for leather specifically. I wash it down, let it dry, and that actually has kept this from rusting, it's kept it from molding, it's kept it from just getting gross. I wear it every day, I don't take it off, I sleep in it.
Now, and then there's other ones that are leather, which you should also weatherproof, but even just sweat degrades that from on the inside.
There's lots of mixed medias with metals and leather. It's a little dated, it's a little 80s, but you know what? The 80s are coming back.
Yeah, and if you like color, neoprene comes in all sorts of color and is also waterproof, so you could use these for long term as well.
I know everyone and their daddy have been to a pet shop or a pet store to get something that's a bit more dog trainy. All I ask is that you don't start trying them on in the PetSmart with other people watching, because I have gone to a pet shop before, and then as we were checking out, the lady behind the counter was like, wow, big dog?
Yes, huge.
Big dog. Big. Huge.
I'm growing, okay? I'm in my thick era.
But other types of collars can also include just tattoos, branding, scarification.
There's lots of mixed medias out there, but there's also more permanent stuff like that. I will recommend only doing that if you're in a really committed relationship.
Really committed, never going to break up. Ever.
The next one from Buck is actually a really funny one, who says, how do collars work in polyamory? Because if you have multiple partners, you can't wear multiple collars, ? Or can you? How does that work?
That's an interesting question. I think you could think of a charm bracelet. You could have different locks on the same collar.
I guess, but more so I think asking like hierarchies and dynamic, like I'm in a collar all the time, you're now in a collar sometimes, you have a sir, I have you as daddy. Polyamory, as long as everyone's on the same page, I think it works.
Sure.
I was looking at it more of like a fashion, like do they all match? Which I have seen, but I've
Yeah,
also
I've
seen
seen that
people
too.
wearing different kinds of
Families
collars.
have
Yeah.
their whole look put together.
And sometimes have little like crests or tags that they put on all the collars.
Right.
But to your point, collars can also be in the form of like a bracelet or an anklet or a locket. If it means something important to you, then it's a collar and it's some sort of commitment.
Like, for instance, before I had this collar, I wore these 24/7 as I was being considered for a new collar.
As far as something more unconventional, cowbells, jingle bells, and even some plasticky online, like 3D printed collars. They're cool, they're different, and they give a bit more flair to your collar game. Next, from someone whose name I can't pronounce because it's a slur, asks, is it frowned upon to unlock and change my collar to match my outfits?
Well, so they said my collar, which leads me to believe they collared themselves. So no, change your collar as much as you want.
I'm of two mindsets on this. I'm on that mindset, like, yeah, choose what you like that looks good, but also be conscious of the message that you are sending to a public persona of the kink community. Back in my day, there was this one guy that would have a different collar on every weekend, and you couldn't tell if he was just changing his fashion or if he had a brand new daddy.
Maybe he just gets around.
Well, that was just it. He did, and it actually chased away a lot of dynamics and relationships of people that wanted to have a relationship with them.
Well, that's their fault then.
I know, and that's why I'm saying, like, be conscious of that signal that you're putting out there for people and be able to explain the collars. If you're looking and you're trying to change the look to match the vibe, that's fine. But if you are wearing a different collar every weekend, people do notice, people do talk, and people do treat you a little bit differently. The next one for Otto asks, how do you determine if a collar is necessary? I'm planning to give one to my boyfriend, and we have talked about it, but we don't have a sub-dom relationship. We're kinky together, so I don't know what it would be other than fashion.
It's fashion, guys.
What's wrong with fashion?
Well, and if you're kinky together, you're just symbolizing that you're together.
Again, collar is dynamic representation. Doesn't need to be sub-dom. It is a relationship that you are sharing with someone, and that's what it should mean to you.
And it doesn't necessarily have to be a collar either. You could do a leather thong like a boa, or you could do a necklace of some sort that has a symbolism for you too.
What is a boa?
A boa?
Like
it's a boa. It's called a boa.
Like a feather boa?
No.
A feather boa as a collar? Ooh, let's do that. At the heart of this question is wanting to be appropriate, wanting to be respectful, but wanting to find something that matches your vibe. And I think that's what a collar should be about. You guys are doing just the right things. You guys are having conversations, you're communicating. So I hope you're able to find something that fits your vibe, but know that it doesn't have to be kinky. It doesn't even have to be dom sub. But also leads us into the final part of today's episode, which is safety. Now, safety in kink is very important. We're always here to give you the ins and the outs and the proponents of safety. So the first question in safety comes from Allie, who says, can they get uncomfortable when you're wearing them every day?
No, not at all. I once had a metal collar this big on and tried to do work in the garage and almost threw out my lower back. It was so heavy.
I mean, I wear this all time, 24/7 when I'm not, cleaning and conditioning it. So like I have like a terrible suntan, like from my collar, you can maybe see. And that's just kind of the uncomfortable parts for me. But I will say collars have a time and place.
Time and place.
While this was a fun collar to have, imagine going to the gym and doing cardio day.
Boom, boom, boom. That padlock hits right here and causes this little welt on your chest bone.
And also hits right here on your teeth if you're not paying attention. I've almost hit my teeth really, really hard before with a lock. Yeah, because this comes up and you're just not paying attention. So make sure that your day collar and your formal collar, or whichever colors you're wearing, have their time, their place. I recommend if you're gonna do a lot of working out, compression shirts can help to hold that down. Or I'll even like get a bandana and tie it around on a really hot day. If you have a metal collar, you can burn yourself from staying in the sun too long.
Also, chain collars do tend to pinch sometimes, especially hair gets caught in between the links.
There should also be a very open conversation with your partners. Like whenever I'm having problems, because sometimes I'll break out just because there's always a collar there. So I'll tell you like, hey, can I take this off for a day? Like you should be able to do that every once in a while to give your neck a break as well.
And be mindful of choke chains because those can actually choke you.
And I don't recommend you do any collars that do slip and slide in that regard, because sometimes people will get into the heat of the moment with sexy stuff and want to pull on it. Please never pull on a collar without permission, and please never pull on a collar that should not be pulled on. Your neck is very important, vital part of your body, and some people don't really take that into consideration when they see a collar. They just want to like yank on it. Yeah. Speaking of yanking, the next question from Harlan says, my concern is safety, especially if used with a leash. I'd love to hear you guys talk about that. Leash play. I mean, I have a number of collars that have like little clip points for leashes and whatnot, but I also have collars that have the clip points here that you can actually fold in when I am not, you know, with 1 or 2 people that I trust having a collar on.
And that's good for a wide leather collar like this, because when it's tugged on, it's a wide band that's not gonna hurt the spine at the back of the neck as much as a chain would.
And it's also padded. So make sure if you're doing some leash play, you're using a collar that has clip points, that has protection, that has that padding.
Full padding, mama. You hear this?
And to make sure it fits, but it's not going to choke you in a bad way.
And like Benadryl, don't operate around heavy machinery.
Look over there! Haha! As I'm pulling it, I'm like pulling very gently because I don't want to choke you.
It's fine.
It's okay. It's okay. It's okay.
When it comes to leash play, treat your sub like an actual dog. Never yank or pull aggressively, but light tugs whenever you're trying to get their attention or train things, totally good. And it hopefully gets them to, hey, stop that. Put your tongue away. Bad. Good boy. Much like us in an episode, you want to create some tension, but still get along. Wasn't that funny? And please never have those leashes that like retract. It's a bad idea. Don't you do it. Finally, in the safety category from Pup Umber, they ask, what materials are good for long-term collar wearing? I prefer metals as I get warm in leather or neoprene ones.
You just answered your own question. Yes, metals take sweat, water, lube, and are easy to clean.
And can be subtle, they can be thin, they can be a little bit thicker, and they can usually wear through lotions and potions that you might put on your body. I am a fan of woven collars of the leather variety, like thongs or just braided things. But again, weatherproofing it is very important so it doesn't get degraded. I wanna go for something that's a bit thinner, but that's not too tight. You're going for comfort if you're wearing this 24/7, and you want something that when you, maybe if it gets pulled to the side or you accidentally lay on it wrong, it's not gonna cut off any circulation or do anything weird.
Oh, wow.
But also for safety, make sure you're able to take it off without a key, because sometimes keys
No.
keys don't get lost. Maybe you're going through TSA and the key's not readily available. I actually have a quick release on this one chain for that very reason. We're both aware of that. That wasn't planned, actually. But in the heat of the moment during like TSA, sometimes they ask me to take this off, and if I don't have the key, this won't come off. Also, this lock no longer works.
Sometimes TSA does get a little dicey with big chains and metal collars because they view that as a weapon.
What am I gonna do?
Take it off and beat someone with it.
And maybe where we end it and circle back, because what's the shape?
Circle, a hole,
Which rhymes
a
with?
collar, purple.
Yes. Finding a collar can sometimes be tough, but I want to instill in you guys to find the collar that fits your mood, your vibe, and go custom if you're really looking for a collar that you like. This was something that we spent a long time trying to find, that we found a custom person to make for, because I wanted something that was special to me, to us, and that not only fit my style, but was just really special. There's lots of people and crafters out there on Etsy in person. I've even seen people that go to like street fairs and will sell nice jewelry and actually do custom collars. It doesn't take a lot of effort to find someone that's a little creative that'll make something special for you. You will be happy you did it.
But if you don't have that time or want to do that, there are plenty of collars at Mr. S and other leather stores.
But that's where we're gonna leave it today. So thank you callers for calling in and giving us your questions. But make sure whether you're the top giving a collar or the bottom receiving a collar, or you're a switch that collars someone else but also gets collared in return, you always have a safe word. Today's safe word is...
Purple Murple.
What is a purple nurple?
It's when you twist your nipple too hard, it becomes a purple murple.
Let's not do that actually. Leave a comment down below of your favorite kind of collar, or maybe your favorite seller online, crafter that does collars.
And if you like ringing bells, ring that bell and you might be notified of our next one.
Leave a like if you enjoyed this episode and want us to tackle some older topics again. And don't forget to subscribe. We'll see you next time on What's the Safe Word. Bye. What am I gonna do with a little woven thing? I'm a top.
Are you?
I'm a top. I'm gonna collar you. Cause I'm a top. Yeah. But I'm also a sub. Yeah. I'm gonna. Oh yeah.